Welcome to Season 1, Episode 1 of Pockets of Joy, your weekly podcast dedicated to bringing you happiness and inspiration. I'm Niamh O'Connell from the Wellness Clinic. Today my guest is self-published Kindle author of 30 Chic Days, Fiona Ferris in New Zealand. I've been reading her books for years and I love her blend of self-development and feminine soft power. Let's dive into this pocket of joy and learn about living a fabulous life without spending a lot of money, one of my favourite mindset hacks, how to self-promote as an introvert, which I know a lot of you find hard, how Fiona deals with criticism, and of course our favourite foods. Check my YouTube channel for the video version with bloopers. Thank you so much for joining me on my podcast. You are my very first guest.
Yes.
And I think this podcast will be called Pockets of Joy. I spent a while looking for a name that wasn't already taken, but the whole idea behind the podcast is to share people's inspirations on how they enjoy the everyday. And I really think that your work embodies that so well. So I'm really happy to have you on and set the tone for this season of my podcast. So would you like to tell us a little bit about your work?
Okay, so similar to your beautifully named podcast, Pockets of Joy, I write my books. They're all on different topics, but they're all about living a fabulous life without spending a lot of money and having a mindset that helps you do that. So a lot of it's mindset work and it's practical things as well. And I've always been I just think you don't need to have a high cost life to be happy. So I've always been quite a thrifty girl, but from a place of like happiness and joy and like seeing just how much fun you can have without spending money, because they're not linked, like a lot of people probably they are, but to me it's just taking joy in everything. And it's not just being like, oh, go and look at a tree or whatever, but just, I don't know, making things fun for yourself. I have been airy fairy and flossy by people like my own family, but I know they love me and I don't care even as well if they do call me airy fairy and flossy, because I just like to make life better, like everyday life. Yeah,
I love that. And I think research shows that even lottery winners aren't any happier 10 years after the lottery. They've usually spent all the money and they're actually in debt or they're in trouble in other ways. So I think that's really important. We know that happiness is within our reach, no matter what our resources, no matter what our setup. I love that. I love that word flossy that you used. We don't use that here in Ireland. Could you paraphrase it for anyone who hasn't heard it before?
Flossy. So flossy to me, if someone, I don't know, maybe just lives a little bit in fairy tale land or la la land or head in the clouds or Delulu is the current fun thing. So I think, it's good to be flossy.
I do too. I think it's the antidote to all the stress when we turn on the news and, look at our feeds. We need
like with your beautiful room behind you, I can see your lovely roses and all your fun books of inspiration, and like that just all adds to it, like
you have to create it as my bubble. I'm definitely in a bubble when I'm
it's like your bubble for sure, your happy bubble, your pink tinted bubble with all glitter going around you. You've sort of got to make one that feels good for you, because not everybody's as flossy as I am, even though in my looks I'm probably quite practical as well, but you've sort of got to make your own style of it that speaks to you and helps you feel really positive and good, and that kind of thing to keep you going.
Absolutely. That's what I love about your writing. It really kept me going, especially through the pandemic. And you released books that were fantastic. Well, I have your list of books here. Wasn't it 30 Chic Days at Home? And you had a second volume as well. That was amazing. It was so timely. Was it the pandemic that inspired those books for you?
Totally. Yeah. I wanted to do something to sort of give back, because I was just, doing my usual blog posts and Instagram posts, and sometimes you get inspiration and sometimes you don't. Sometimes you just can't think of anything to pull out of the air to post. but you know, you want to say hi to people, my lovely readers, and keep in touch, and my friends as well. And so I thought, oh, I've done a 30 Chic Days in the past. That's what I'm going to do. And it, you know, puts a rocket up me, and to just get inspired and create. And it's something that I can give back to people who are, you know, like we all were at the time, just weirded out totally and scared a bit. And so that's why I did 30 Chic Days, to make the most of it. And then as I was doing it, I thought, oh, I'm going to make it into another book. I'm going to expand on everything. And so that book came out of it as well. And it just preserves all the information for anybody that doesn't want to go through my blog. I mean, they can, it's free, but you know, you can pay a few dollars and get the book and just have it right there on your Kindle, or I guess I'll record it into an audiobook one day. Why not? It's amazingly, I just thought it would be a temporary book because of the time, but it's quite timeless as well. Even though some stuff is peculiar to the pandemic, a lot of it is actually really current, you know, every day. And like, I sort of look back at that, like the introduction say, and I thought, God, people, like, we still feel like that now, like it's 4 years later.
That's it. But for here, it only ended really a year and a half or 2 years ago. We stopped, not even 2 years ago yet, that we stopped wondering, will there be a lockdown this Christmas? You know, it was still talked about very much recently. And I think the ripple and the shockwaves will be felt. And I do think we're all in a state of PTSD, like we're straight back on the hamster wheel of the 9 to 5s. And we're all still going, what was that? Like, that was crazy, and it rocked us to our core. So what your books did for me during the pandemic, and I'm not just talking those ones specifically, but I read everything you had ever written during the pandemic. And I loved reading them on my Kindle in the bath. And I really had this feeling that if it really helped me keep going, because I felt like if I can cocoon and see this time as a time of maybe personal growth and regeneration, you know, as well as the bigger question, will we all survive and will our loved ones survive? But just on a micro level, if I can get through this step by step with the lovely positive, you know, tips that you share in your books, and they very much feel like an older sister. Now, you're not that much older than me, but you feel like a wiser woman, like guiding me through all the little changes hand in hand. Like, it doesn't feel like you're suggesting anything scary or too far out of the comfort zone. But it really let me think that there will be a future, and I will emerge from this a stronger and better person. And I must thank you for that, because it really kept me going a lot of my anxious times. So thank you. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. I've read through I do love to read through authors' reviews on Amazon, especially when I was starting to publish my books last year. And it's echoed always in all your 5-star reviews. People are saying it's like her suggestions seem so simple on the surface, but when you put any of them into practice, the powerful and the immediate changes you see are unreal. And what I love about your writing is it's so gentle and it's so feminine. It's all done in a very, try this, it might work for you, this works for me, and this is how you might like to try it. It might look like this for you, it might be different, rather than these other self-help books which feel very didactic and very forceful. And it's kind of take it or leave it, and you'll be left behind if you don't join this gang. And I don't like that energy I read in other books. So that's what really draws me back to your books. And I reread them constantly as a comfort read and as a self-development tool. They really go on a deep level as well. So I would recommend them to everyone. And you're staying at home would be very relevant if somebody was injured or ill or had just had a baby. Plenty of time.
Or just if you're feeling a little bit bruised by life, you know, you just want to wrap up for a little bit, because might just be different personality types, but every so often you just think, oh, everything's too much at the moment. I just want to wrap myself up and disappear for I don't know, it might only be a day, but just in your mind you do that, and you sort of have a little, I guess it's like retreating, just to rejuvenate and, you know, feel a bit better. And it doesn't even have to be, it could be a situation like splitting up with someone, or having you know, splitting up with a friend, not even a relationship. But it doesn't even have to be that. It just feels like sometimes everything gets too much and you just need to pull back a bit. So I can imagine it would be quite relevant to that time as well.
Yeah, definitely. Another one of your books I loved was The Peaceful Life. And I actually opened up a digital notebook and I worked through it like it was a workbook. And it is in a sense a workbook, isn't it? You give exercises, and you have people create affirmations and flipping negatives into positives and just carving out this. For me, it gave me a lot of mental space at a time where my work was thriving and I was very busy, but I felt very harassed by it all. It was like, I don't do well on the hamster wheel. I can sprint, but then I need a restorative time of peace.
Yeah, you get burnt out.
Yeah, exactly. I get burnt out quite often. So your books helped me to find a pace that worked for me and to find a bit more headspace. So I loved that as well. There was something else I wanted to ask you, if you don't mind. I'd love to know, who were your role models growing up? Were there people, maybe women or men in your life you looked to, or maybe they were celebrities who you thought someday I want to be like that, or you admired them for their glamour or their elegance, because you espouse all those lovely chic attributes as well as the self-development ones?
I mean, when I was growing up, there was no internet, and so I was born in 1970, so 1970s I was little, and then 1980s were my teen years, and then 1990s I was supposedly a grown-up in my 20s, you know, being a person out in the world. So I guess I always liked elegant things, and I looked up to my auntie and my mum. They would, you know, have their perfume and lovely clothes, and I just look forward to being a grown-up and being able to have my room, because I loved, you know, I mean, I would have a messy room, I'm sure a lot, Mum would say, like, but I always liked having my pretty things around me. I always liked having my books around me, and I remember liking just the colour pink when I was younger, but in a sort of elegant way rather than a sort of fairy princess way. And the Yardley Roses perfume, I had a little wee like spray bottle of that when I was about 10, and I used to love putting it on my wrists. And I think in the 80s and 90s, I really liked like the glamorousness of the miniseries, like Danielle Steele miniseries. You know, the ladies all had, I don't know, beautiful makeup and lovely clothes, and they lived in these gracious mansions with gilt-edged mirrors, and maybe not mansions, but nice homes. And so I liked that as well. And these days, I mean, I also always liked books too that sort of were about lifestyle, like the Alexandra Stoddard books. I used to read a lot in the 90s, not so much now. And they sort of gave me inspiration for my own home. And I always liked the Estee Lauder style as well. Like I used the products then a little bit, but it was like the elegance of the counters. And I read her autobiography, and there was a few other books written about her that I read as well, just how she lived her life. And she was sort of elegant and feminine, but also a businesswoman, and sort of made what she loved into her business. And I guess I'm doing that with my books in a much smaller way, that I want to share what I find interesting with people, and sort of like share my enthusiasm for living in that way. So that's why I write my books. In terms of celebrities, I think I just go through different phases. Like sometimes I think, oh, I'm feeling a bit frumpy down. I really want to sort of feel a bit more youthful. So I'll sort of look at younger celebrities and see what they're wearing, and I don't change my outfits that much. It's probably more a state of mind, but I might change up little things. But I still have my classic style. So it's not that there'll be a massive change, but it just feels really fresh and new to just make little changes that suit me. And so the kind of celebrities that I'll be inspired by will just change from, you know, month to month, and I might just dip out of celebrity land altogether. Like I'm not really sort of looking at many magazines or celebrities online at the moment. I'm more reading non-fiction books and just cozy fiction books set in little towns in England or America or wherever it is. And that sort of gives me comfort at the moment. So, you know, I guess we all just follow the flow of what makes us feel good at any particular time.
I love that. I love that so much. And I love you're the first writer who I've ever read who describes changing your mindset, like to help you through a stage that you might need a bit of help with, such as you say there, you know, maybe taking on the mindset of a celebrity. Like, how would she tackle her messy kitchen? Or, this whole idea of that we could embody different energies as we go throughout our days or our weeks, or, they might change hour to hour sometimes, depending on what. And that's something I definitely did growing up. Whenever I felt I was heading into a tricky situation, I would always, channel somebody who was confident in that situation, whether it was somebody in real life or somebody, I knew through celebrities. I would always think, imagine I'm them for a second. This will help me prepare. And I've never met anyone else who describes that, like changing their mindset. Or, as you say in one of your books, treating your home like it's a bougie hotel. So you're inspired to keep it looking good and have some fresh flowers in the rooms. And that's made a huge difference. That tiny little nugget has really made me look at my home in a different way. And it's been really, these tiny little things I might pick up from your books, and they mightn't come back to me for weeks or months, and then something clicks and I'm suddenly doing something new, and it's making my life a little better all the time. So I love that. Love that.
Cool. It's about making things that you feel like you should do, like changing that to something that you really want to do.
Yes. Yeah. And giving yourself.
We all know we should have home clean and tidy and not have it full of rubbish and dirty. Yeah. But it's like, oh, I've got to clean the house today. It's like, oh, so much. And you just got no energy for it. But then if you think, oh, what if I was like a boutique hotel and I had guests, or just, lovely people coming to stay, or just me coming to stay, like it's my own Airbnb. Like, I really love those Airbnb photos that they're all staged and decluttered. There's no rubbish lying around. There's no stacks of old magazines that you don't know what to do with in an Airbnb. So it just, I think, oh, I want to make my home like an Airbnb, and it just gives you instant energy to just whiz around and feel lighter and fluff things up.
It's amazing. Just the other day I styled up my living room, and I brought in a sofa from this room, which is our dining room, but is more of a second sitting room depending on where the light is through the day. But I wanted to have this as more formal an area for eating. So I brought in an extra sofa, even though I thought it might make the room look too cluttered, but it actually works. We've got a bay window, and now it's brought in a new color, and I'm putting different cushions out. And the kids walked in and went, "Whoa, it's like a hotel, Mom." And I was like, "Yeah, I didn't spend any money, but I've zhuzhed it up, and it just makes
exactly what you planned." That's really cool.
I love that. I'd love to talk to you too about the transformative power of makeup, because this is something I think I certainly use all the time to make myself feel better. I will put on my face, and I don't feel that I have to do it. Like, I put makeup on for you. It's not very, it's not very noticeable, maybe not the lips anyway, but I had no makeup on all day, and I'm fine chatting to neighbors and going to the shops with no makeup. But most days I do like to do my hair and makeup and choose a good outfit. And I do feel it's a bit of an armor against the wider world. And I do feel, because I'm a homebody, I'm an introvert, and I know you describe yourself as the same. Do you feel like makeup is kind of like an armor for you, and it helps you tackle, life? Because life can be hard sometimes. I'd love to just hear where you're at with the whole makeup as, a crutch or an armor or a support tool or whatever you want to call it.
Words like armor and crutch and tool and battle, I think was the battle, I can't remember. Anyway, like, they just are a little bit jarring to me. Like, I don't really think, I don't look at makeup as armor. And to me, it's just, it makes me feel better and feel good. To me, it's like brushing your teeth. Like, you could not brush your teeth all day, wouldn't really make a big deal. You could just brush them in the evening, but it feels really nice to have minty fresh teeth after you've had a meal. And makeup is the same to me. I feel like it takes me, like, I put it on real quick this morning because I was still having a shower quarter of an hour before we were going to get together. And so it was 5-minute makeup. And even that just feels better than having no makeup. Like, I really like to use a rich moisturizer, so my face is quite pink and shiny when I don't have makeup on. And so just having the lightest touch of makeup just feels really good to me. And it takes me, even if I'm not really hurrying, it might take me 10 minutes if I'm not doing like smoky eyes or something, just, normal eyes. And but I just feel better about it. And it's 10 minutes like out of my day. And if I do it once I'm out of the shower, then it's done for the day. And maybe I'll just put a little bit of lipstick on after lunch and a little bit of powder on my nose or something because it gets shiny. But just doing your hair and makeup like as early as I can, and that might not be real early if I've had my exercising and doing different things, and I might not have a shower until mid-morning or something like that. But just doing it once I'm out of the shower just sets me up for the day. And very occasionally I will have a day with no makeup. I did the other day, but probably not for many weeks before that. And I don't think makeup's bad for your skin. Like, I don't really take it on, and even if you do, you take it off. Like, I enjoy washing my face at night as well, so it's not an obligation to me, but I do feel good when I wear it, and I know I look enhanced. Not, I wouldn't say look better, but probably look better, but it just enhances your looks. And to me, it's just one of the pleasures of being female, is that you get to do that. I mean, guys don't get to do that. I feel bad for guys. They can't do anything apart from brush their hair.
Yeah, it's not as common as for women. But that's what I love. And for anyone who hasn't seen Fiona, she is like a modern day Marilyn Monroe. She's a natural beauty. She doesn't need makeup. She's glowing skin. And she is really, she's showing her good lifestyle with her face. She's fabulous. But I agree. And I knew you'd put it better than me. I picked the clunkiest words like armor and touch.
I didn't mean to be.
It is like an enhancement for me. It does make me feel better too. And I remember when I was very harassed with younger children, I would be running around in my PJs for half the day. And then if I wanted to go to the shops, I wanted to look good. And then, it might be 1 p.m. I'm trying to run upstairs and spend a minute or two doing my makeup. And it felt like my life was topsy-turvy. So now what I do is I get dressed and ready for the day, and I want to look presentable always. I know we both follow Jennifer L. Scott as well. I love her stuff too. And she has this whole idea of looking presentable always, as do you. And it just means that I can leave my house at any time for any reason, go anywhere, speak to anyone, and I can feel I look my best. And it also makes me feel my best. It's like a paradigm shift for me anyway. And the world is an easier place when I'm feeling good in myself, for sure.
Oh, exactly. I just feel so zingy and positive and happy when I have just worn something that makes me feel happy and know that I look presentable or look good, and just in a normal everyday way. Like, I'm just happy with what I've worn, and I've dried my hair nicely, and like, you zhuzh it up each day if you don't wash it that day. If I haven't just put it into a ponytail without doing anything and it's all got funny bits sticking out and that kind of thing.
No, exactly. I want to ask you, did you always have this positive mindset and this can-do attitude, or did that come about as you grew up? Or were you like that as a kid? Were you this kind of empowered woman as a younger woman?
I've always been quite positive and cheery, but I was a lot shyer when I was younger, and I would worry more about what people thought about me and be hesitant to speak up. And I also sort of had a cynical streak of maybe like a sarcastic sense of humor that I thought was funny. And I guess within my immediate family, we all made a little bit of fun of each other sometimes, but so that's okay because we all sort of know each other well. But I guess sometimes in the outside world where people don't know you so well, you could think you're making a joke and it really falls flat and it sounds really, I don't know if you know that, but it just feels.
I can remember every time it's happened to me, once with an employer, once with another employer, and repeating things I had heard someone else say that I thought was funny, and it was in the context. And when I said it in a different context, clang, it was a conversation stopper, and people were looking at me like, is she for real?
And you can't fix it, and you try and fix it and explain, and it just gets worse. Like, just put down the shovel. So I guess I just learned from that, and I thought, don't try and be funny, like, enjoy humor, and you don't have to make smart comments that might go well or might not. It's like, just don't, it's no fun, it's no longer fun.
I think keep it for you. Cultural thing though. I remember sarcasm being a really big thing in the 90s. I was a teenager in the 90s. I remember movies like Wayne's World and clueless. It was kind of cool to be sarky and act like you didn't care. And I think
Yeah.
change, or maybe it's that we've all grown up and maybe the teenagers nowadays are still doing that. I don't know. And I have a teenager, but yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not getting that much, or I don't see him with his friends that much. But um,
Yeah.
I think it might be a cultural thing too. I think we're all a bit more aware of how we come across, maybe, and a bit more.
And I think everything's so much more delicate now. Like you can really put your foot in it quite easily. Whereas, so there's that. But it just feels better to just go with the flow, be gentle, be nice, like no one doesn't like nice, like to have someone happy to see them or ask them about themselves rather than go on about their own things, that kind of thing. Yeah, so I think now I try and care less about what people think. I'm still a nice person, but I'm not going to let myself be paralyzed by the thought of, someone not liking me or thinking I am too,
Yeah.
Head in the clouds. I just be me and try and be a good human being and interact with others in a nice way.
I think that's great. And I think that's a maturity thing too. We kind of care less as we get older. We know our core group around us support us and love us no matter what, and everything else can kind of fade away. How do you marry that with then social media or a criticism of your books? I found that really scary. And it's the thing that I have a real love-hate relationship with social media. I love observing other people using it and following other people, but I hate sharing personal stuff, or even I hate sharing my own work online because I don't want it critiqued by anyone ever. How do you handle like the negativity if you get any? How do you manage that?
I think to me, I'm scared of criticism if I maybe think if I'm self-critical or if I haven't put my best work out there. But I know that my books aren't perfect, and they might have a typo or two, and maybe I haven't said something in exactly the right way, but I always do my best with each book, and I'm happy to put them out because I know I've done my best, and I know that it might not be perfect, but the books I've enjoyed the most have been self-published authors or authors that aren't afraid to just put it all out there. And I mean, it's going to be refined and it's going to be edited and it's going to be not just like emptying my head onto a page, but I think not being afraid to let out your unique colors and show people not sanitize yourself too much, not make yourself too vanilla.
Yeah.
And I definitely 1-star and 2-star reviews. Some of them I just think, I'm sorry you bought my book, I hope you could get a refund, but you're just not my person. Like you just, you'll find another author that you resonate with more, and others, they have valid points that I take them on. So I get, I always read my reviews because I want to know what people think. Like if I get mostly good reviews and the odd bad one, I think, well, that's a success. But if I got a book that really missed the mark, if I released a book and it just got like panned, I think, oh, I've got to learn from this. And that hasn't happened yet, but maybe one day it will. Like I don't just want to be insulated and not know what people are thinking about my work, because as much as I put it out there for me, it's for my readers as well. And so I always take lessons. If there's always nasty people, but I don't really get many nasty people. Maybe I'm just not big enough, and I'm just quite gentle. I'm not really a person that puts out polarizing views or really goes for, I'm just all about living a good life and a happy life and that kind of thing. So I don't really get the real nasty people, but sometimes if something they say is just, I can't help that, then it's like, well, I can let it go. It's not gonna, it still affects me. You can't not be affected by someone being really pointy, but I just, eventually let it go.
Yeah.
If I can't do anything about it, I'm not going to change my whole writing style or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But if it's something that I've not realized, I'll take it on.
Yeah, that's a great philosophy. And how do you decide, because you're very good with how you use social media, I love seeing, where you're going. You're having a lunch out, or you're doing Friday ladies lunch, which sounds amazing. Is that what you call it? With your mom and aunties?
Yep, ladies' lunch on a Friday. Not every Friday, maybe once a month, but they also have Saturday coffee with other family members and friends that I join in sometimes. And those are nice things. I think with my social media, I like it to keep in touch with my readers and like their friends as well. And I used to sort of probably put more on my blog and my social media, like of my writing, but authors that I follow, sometimes they'll just have what they've been up to, and it's really, I'm just nosy. I like to see how they live their life in little snippets, and I just find that really interesting. So I sort of tried to decide for myself what I wanted my social media to be, whether it's going to be tips about things. Some authors might just have chunks of their writing or promotions that, like book signings they've got or whatever. But I decided I wanted mine to be more a lifestyle kind of social media, that it's a mix of what I'm up to, my home life, a lot of home life because I love being at home, and bits and pieces of my books as well. So
I love that. It's a good balance of everything, and it gives people an idea of what you're going to share in your books as well. But obviously, you go deeper into everything in your books. Okay, I see we've got 10 minutes left, or 9 minutes left. So I have a few questions I'm going to ask everybody at the end of their interview. Can we get into them, unless there's anything you want to tell us about before we get into these last questions? They're kind of quick.
No, let's do some questions. I hope you get them right.
Okay. Well, actually, before we do, I wanted to ask you, you're recording audiobooks. How are they going for you? Because I know not everybody is into actually reading a book or a Kindle. So are you finding there's a great uptake with your audiobooks?
I don't know yet, because the information is so slow to come from Audible and the company that I use to upload them. So I actually have no idea, only from people just saying, oh, I like your audiobooks. But difference with my Kindle books and my paperback books on Amazon is that they give you information every single day. Like, you can log on today and see how many people ordered your books yesterday, which is really fun.
Yeah.
But I put my first audiobook out a couple of months ago, and it's just really, I guess, I think about 2 months later they'll send you a report of the month. So I have no idea, but I'm still going to keep on going. I'm really enjoying recording them, and I know that I'll have more people order them if I have them than if I don't have any. So that keeps me going, and I'm just really enjoying the reading of them and connecting with my audience in that way, because it really does feel like I'm reading it out to you.
Yeah. I always prefer to read a book that's narrated by the author themselves. So I think they're going to do really well. And I must get mine converted to audiobooks. I'll do it myself as well, I think. But you've inspired me to do that as well this year. So I will be starting that soon.
Lovely.
Okay, we're going to jump into the questions. Firstly, have you got a word of the year for 2024? You know the way some people have a word for the year.
I haven't. I really like the idea, but I forget it a week later. I think I have a word in it, like every day I'll think, like this morning I thought, what did I think? I want to feel, I can't even remember. It was like productive and feminine, no, productive and something else. It's a minute with me.
That's okay. I've chosen the word easy this year. So if it's not easy, I'm not going to do it. Because last year was very busy, and I felt like I was struggling up a hill. It was a very productive year, but it wasn't an easy year. And I definitely needed recovery time after Christmas to recover from last year. So this year, everything was easy, especially these podcasts. Okay.
Cool.
Was there a book or movie that made a big impression on you?
So many. I mean, I love chick flicks, romantic comedies, because the main characters always inspire me. Movies like The Devil Wears Prada or The Intern, I mean, Anne Hathaway movies, basically. I just really enjoy seeing movies that are stylish, a bit kick-ass, fun, feminine, romantic, all those kind of things. And book-wise, probably the books I go back to most are the Rhonda Byrne's books, The Secret and the Power, and I've got all those on audiobook, and I just every so often when I just need a dose, I'll listen to her. Her voice is really lovely. I really enjoy listening to her voice. But book-wise, there's just different books in different areas. Like The Richest Man in Babylon, I read that like 25 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, and it just clicked something for me with money and made me like happily not to spend money on just, not waste money.
Yeah.
So I guess but yeah, I just enjoy books, lots of books.
That's cool. So there's some good recommendations for people as well listening. What is your desert island meal? So if you could have one meal, like your last meal or your last supper, what would it be? No judgment here. Forget the whole wellness clinic nutritionist thing, because mine would be pizza. So what would yours be?
What would yours be? I didn't catch it.
Pizza with
Oh,
mushrooms.
pizza.
Keep it simple.
Oh, yeah.
Would follow it probably with chocolate fudge cake that had been warmed up so the icing was melting, and a strong coffee and a glass of champagne and all the bad stuff.
Yeah, pizza sounds good actually. Just a glass of red wine, Italian red wine, and a pizza. And it doesn't have to be gluten-free in my desert island dream. It can be that, really handmade crust that's all misshapen around the edge and a bit burnt and blistered. That would be awesome. The flavor I like is blue cheese and mushroom and like rocket. Yeah. So the blue cheese really adds to it. But probably my true one, I'm gonna be snack girl.
Yeah, that's good.
I'll say a brandy and ginger ale and a bowl of potato chips.
I love potato chips, or crisps as we call them in Ireland.
Yeah.
I had 2 packets today alone. I just eat them when I need to think. I crunch away and it helps me think. I have to really
I just
heard that.
house because I will eat them. I think it's
Look, it's part of a balanced diet. I had a salad yesterday. I have crisps today. It's all good.
Yeah.
Okay, we have 2 more questions. The first one is, do you have a motto for life? Any guiding principle that you keep in mind when things are tough? Or
I think it's just what I put in my books, that it has to be like, just make it fun, make it easy, make it fun, make it enjoyable, like whatever I want to do, and do it quickly as well. Like,
yeah,
so the things that might not be super fun, like I love to have a nice neat bedroom, so I just make my bed as quick as I can when I get up, and then it looks lovely. Like if I leave it for an hour, I'll just keep walking past it and it's like, oh, it's a mess, there's pets asleep on it, but I'll kick them all off, make my bed, then they can get back on if they want, and it just makes me happy for the rest of the day. And so same with getting ready for the day, I'll do that as soon as possible in the day, and just make it quick. Easy, fun.
So you're really starting your days with a strong morning routine by the sound of it.
Yes, that definitely works well for me because I am a morning person. I love to go to bed early and get up early, and so if I do my main things as early as I can, like do a social media post, do my exercise, get ready for the day, make bed, just the things that I have to do anyway, or want to do anyway, every day or most days. Like exercise might be 5 days a week, or 4 days a week, not every day, and social media is not every day. That might be 3 to 5 times a week, but make the beds every day, for example. So definitely if I get all those things done as early as, my day feels really good. But if I let them hang around, then it feels heavy. So
yeah, I get you. Okay, we have 1 minute left. What is your idea of perfect happiness?
Having free time, just having a day with no appointments or things I have to be at, and I've just got my own space, and probably mostly at home. Rather, like, I love going on holiday, but I just love being at home. So a home day with nothing on my plate, nothing on my appointment list would be perfect.
I love that so much. That's the perfect end. And I think you've got your priorities in order for sure, Fiona. You know what's important about life, and you have really crafted your own dream life. And anyone who wants to change things up would do well to read her books to get on the right track to achieving your own goals. So thank you so much for meeting with me today and
Thank you,
chatting
Niamh.
about your work. It's been an absolute joy.
Thank you.
So much.
Thanks, everyone.
I'm just aware now that our meeting might finish at the 40 minutes. So is it okay if we leave the meeting and come in again? I'm so sorry, but that's a lovely intro. Then we can get straight into the meat of it. Thank you.
Yeah, that's good. You can just tell me when you chop me off.
Thank you. So just tell me, how do I do this? I end it and then I go back and click the link I sent you. Isn't that correct?
Are you asking me?
Yes. I am.
I've never hosted a Zoom call in my life.
Oh my God. Okay.
Worked it out so far. We'll work it out. I mean, you're the one that's going to be up at night, not me, but
God, I'm so
depends if you're a night owl or an early bird.
Yeah. Okay, I think we both end the meeting and we both click the link to re-enter.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much. I loved talking to Fiona. What a great way to start season 1. It was thanks to her book, The Chic Author, that I knuckled down and published my 2 Kindle books last year. Fiona's fans all say that her advice is easy to follow and does yield great results. Now that's my kind of writer. Check out episode 2 where I speak to Irish musician and storyteller Anne Harper about Irish heritage, motherhood and her creative process. Help me spread the joy by sharing this podcast with your friends. Give me a 5-star rating if you think I deserved it, and I'd love any feedback at the Wellness Clinic on socials or my website linked below.